when you come into an organization, particularly now, to your point, Brandon, so many people are moving, right? Every couple of years we're moving on. I said, don't make the mistake that so many managers make of sitting down with their staff. Okay, I'm the president, and she's the VP of marketing, she's the VP of sales, she's the CFO, and just look at those people for the roles they're in. Ask for their bios, ask for their resumes, ask for the CVs, sit down with them and understand where they came from. Your VP of marketing may have been a CEO who sold her business for $10 million, right? She may have completely different experience other than the role they're in. One of the mistakes we make as leaders and managers, Brandon, is we look at people and define them by the role they're in. Right? So what were they doing? Maybe you've got a whole bunch of people with a whole bunch of talent and capabilities. You have no idea because you see Jim Wetrich as the VP of sales or the regional manager or the financial analyst or whatever. And I coach everyone who's in a leadership position. Sit down, get to know your people, figure out what their backgrounds are. Where did they come from? I coached a lady recently, Brandon. She was so abused in her house when she was either 12 or 14, I can't remember. She actually left home and was homeless for 2 years.
Wow.
She was the head of learning and development at a huge organization. Imagine how that impacted who she is and what she's capable of doing and the resilience that she had. But if you didn't sit down and just get to know her, you never probably would have heard that story.
Yeah. Interesting. So I want to get to your book, but I've got a follow-on question to that story, that example, Jim. So tell me a little bit about, from your perspective, how much of it is a responsibility of the person to be asked that question, so to learn more about her and find out that beautiful part of her journey, and how much of it is for her to share that proactively with the people that she's working with?
It's a great question, and I think it's a two-way street. I think it's 50-50, and I give a lot of people that advice on coaching, right? Your manager or your manager's manager, right, which is even probably more important, has no idea about your background. Find ways to make sure they understand who you are and what your background is. So I think it's a great question, Brendan. I think it's a two-way street. People assume that somehow my manager or manager's manager knows me, right? Well, if you don't have ever had a conversation or sent some paper to them or sent an email or spent some time just in kind of an exploratory, introductory, get to know me, once I've been hired process, it'll never happen. It'll never, more often than not, it just won't happen.
Agreed. I think so. I love that. I think it's, and you said two-way street. I almost think it's kind of vertical too. So it's our responsibility to ask our folks a little more about their stories and journeys, and of course, don't probe. I mean, let them share what they're comfortable sharing. But I think also as leaders, it's our responsibility to share those parts of our story. I can imagine if I was working with her, how much grace and I would give her, and how much purpose I would see in what she did every day, knowing that story about her. Because it's almost like, she didn't get all this coaching and development and encouragement, and now she's trying to pour that into the world.
Welding together practical insights and powerful conversations to forge world-class leaders. This is the Leadership Foundry Podcast.